And at 10, 1.16. It's a fairly obvious reason as to why Minecraft 1.16 is scary. It's literally changed hell as we know it. The Nether, while being a fairly scary place, was easy to beat by seasoned Minecraft vets such as myself. But when the 1.16 Nether update came in, it threw everything we knew out the window. Netherite was now the best instead of diamond, gold actually had a use and wasn't just a stick of butter anymore, Nether fortresses were harder to find, 3 new Nether biomes completely changed the way we speedrun the game. The 1.16 update made hell even more like its own world, which can make it look like hell less, but also may make it even more hellish to those who liked the Nether the way it was. This update was terrifying, especially in the snapshots. Bree and I were playing in the snapshots and the Soul Sand Valley biomes were a total mess. They had ghasts spawning everywhere and they were constant. You couldn't walk 1 foot without getting blasted by a ghast. Okay, it was nuts, so I'm glad they fixed that, at least. And at 9, Iron Golems. Iron Golems aren't scary now, well at least if your friend isn't able to possess mobs in an effort to kill you.
You can totally
Only
attack
one
me.
way.
What?
Dream, watch out, that's a tsunami.
What? Oh my god, I had to use my pearl. I had to use my pearl.
But at first, when we didn't quite understand them, Iron Golems were terrifying. I remember when the update first came out, I wasn't plugged into Minecraft news and I was just playing, and I stumbled onto one of these guys and nearly shat my pants. I was also quite scared of squids the first time I played, but that was because I didn't understand why they had a terrifying mouth, and I legit thought that they were hostile. But nevertheless, at first the golems were scary, and honestly they're still scary, especially if you play on the Hermitcraft server, because none of those people understand that hitting a villager near an iron golem will cause them to relentlessly murder you until they send you to the depths of the Nether. And at 8, the Bountiful Update. Minecraft 1.8, also known as the Bountiful Update, is freaking huge. This thing added over 37 new things, not to mention a whole load of changes to existing items. That's terrifying from a company standpoint. They had to literally add over 30 new things to the game and hope that everyone liked it. I mean, they had gotten feedback and there were screenshots, but most people only wait for the update to release before playing, unless you're a YouTuber who wants those sweet, sweet views. This update added ocean monuments and everything that comes with it, barriers, slime blocks, spectator mode, endermites, and armor stands, which will later be used to scare the hell out of me on multiple occasions. And it's just overall a lot, okay? It's not necessarily scary in like it's gonna kill you way, but it's scary from a company standpoint, okay? Let me stretch. And it's 7, proper combat. Right now, combat on Minecraft Bedrock Edition and Java is drastically different. The most common example of this is that how Bedrock seemingly didn't get a combat update. Like they got 1.9 and end cities and Elytra, but you can still spam attack. You can keep clicking, okay? But in Java, you have to wait after each attack, and then if you time it right, you get slightly more damage. Sweeping attacks are also exclusive to Java Edition because of this, and so are combat-friendly axes. Well, friendly is a loose term, and so are more damaging axes, I guess. Because of these differences, though, it becomes almost impossible for players to actually enjoy both editions of the game without learning separate combat mechanics. And trust me, I know this for a fact. Having to figure out Bedrock Edition just made me sure that I prefer Java, and hopefully the next update can put an end to that, because having to crouch to use a shield is ridiculous, okay? I know it's because it's supposed to be controller friendly, okay, but if I'm using a mouse, let me right click, okay, or let me keybind the thing, let me change the key binding, okay, because limiting me for using a PC is stupid. But you can get other editions if you have Bedrock or Game Pass now, so please just get Java, okay, and then join my server. It's a long story, but it has proximity chat. And at 6, Exploration Update. The Exploration Update, also known as Minecraft 1.11, added a whole load of hostile mobs that we know today. This update added the Illagers, the Evokers and the Vindicators, as well as the Vexes and the Llamas. 1.11 also added the Curse enchantments, making your gear potentially be stuck to you until you die, or disappear from your inventory upon death. And it also added Woodland Mansions. These locations were originally the only place to get a Totem of Undying until raids were added, since there was a guaranteed Evoker spawn there, which made them desirable but also terrifying because of the amount of overpowered overpowered enemies that were inside. These things made exploring dark forests more intense and actually gave them a purpose other than getting loads of dark oak wood. I still stand by the fact that we need to get some more structures that can generate in forests and stuff, you know, like a ruined village that has the style of the old ones before the Village and Pillage update, so we can see some actual lore in game instead of having to guess most of it. Halfway through into number 5, what are ghasts? Ghasts, the giant floating jellyfish of the nether. What the hell are they? Get it? Giant floating jellyfish, maybe mutated due to the harsh climate of the nether? Some other mob that's been warped due to eating warped mushrooms and netherwort? Or is it half a person after a couple builders had a little too much fun one night? Cause you know, those block orgies? Nobody knows, but I guess we can take a stab at guessing. They could be a form of squid brought to the nether and tested on by ancient builders. They could have been changed thanks to their diet of warped mushrooms, crimson root, and netherwort, and then maybe they got bigger and thanks to the climate they developed an immunity to fire and lava, and they also didn't need to breathe oxygen in water. And then their ability to shoot ink morphed into the ability to shoot fireballs from their mouths? I don't know, it's gruesome and it's horrifying, but that's what happens when you experiment on squids in hell. But maybe Minecraft Legends can actually help answer this instead of 1.19, because you know, it could just be like, because they're doing another thing, or it could just be that it's like an escaped soul that developed a body in the nether. Okay, I haven't the really faintest clue what a ghast could be, but yeah, please explain it. In at 4, Warden. The Warden is a new monster that will be added in Minecraft 1.17, the Caves and Cliffs update. The Warden will only spawn in the deepest pits of the overworld and is blind, since it's underground and it's living in pitch black, so instead it hears you. You can use this to your advantage by using projectiles like a snowball as shown in the trailer, or probably a bow and other things like that. The Warden is the strongest enemy in the game, hitting someone with full netherite armor, which we can infer this from the fact that the trailer they were holding a netherite sword, for 6 hearts. Okay, that's freaking nuts. The armor probably wasn't fully enchanted, but even with full Prot 4 armor, we could be in for some serious trouble. Plus, the Warden just looks menacing. This dude will be in my nightmares for years and years to come, especially after being added. And at 3, improved forests. I've been saying this for a while now, but Minecraft needs better forests, my god. The only thing interesting that you can find in a forest is maybe a woodland mansion in a dark forest biome, or a jungle temple in a jungle, but that's really it. So I'm here to present you multiple things that you can do to add to forests. Adding sub-biomes to forests, maybe making a sub-forest where mobs can spawn no matter the light level. Adding more beehives or something to do with more interesting bees since you didn't add the damn move loom. An abandoned house maybe, left over by an ancient race of builders perhaps. Or just more variety in what we can find. I know that forests are probably going to get their own update, but come on, give us something. Anything to look forward to with Caves and Cliffs. I'd even take a freaking Ent at this point, or a Lorax. Please, something. Maybe something like... Penultimately, in at number 2, the Nether. The Nether was added in Minecraft Alpha, which was released on June 30th, 2010. The SMP was also added, allowing multiplayer Minecraft to finally be a thing. This update would come to define the game forever, with adding things like redstone, biomes, and animals, as well as having its own Halloween update which added the netherrack, glowstone, soul sand, pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns, as well as the Nether we all know and love. You can't even tell me that this update isn't scary, okay? Even if you love the Nether, okay? They literally added hell to the game. That's like saying, okay, now let's make hell accessible in real life. That's horrifying. Even if it's just a game and it won't really scare you, they added hell. This was going to be number 1 until I found another update that actually tops this one. But literally, the Nether is a whole other level of terror. You weren't even able to access the Nether in multiplayer for a while. It got added later. I know this because I remember Lewis mentioning it in the Yogscast Survival series. And when it did get added, they had to go find Israfel. Where's episode 43, by the way? I'm waiting. Finally, in at number 1, pretty scary update. Minecraft 1.4.2 was originally released October 25th, 2012 and is known as the Pretty Scary Update. See why this is number 1? The Pretty Scary Update actually lives up to its name and is the first Minecraft update to have a name and its own poster. Well, its own logo, not really a poster. The Pretty Scary Update is one of the most horrifying things ever. This is the update that added cobblestone walls, command blocks, anvils, mob and player heads, potions of invisibility, item frames, and not to mention beacons, nether stars, the wither skeletons, witches, and bats. We have had the Wither in the game for 8 years. I remember when this was added. I remember how excited I was to finally see a new boss was being added to the game. It was nuts. I was so hyped. I was screaming out of terror and out of joy. Man, I've been playing this game for like at least 9 years. That's freaking nuts. Wow, I really am an OG. In a 10 dimensions update. The last time a new dimension was added to Minecraft was the 1.0.0 update that introduced the Ender Dragon and the final boss fight. Other than that, we've had no new dimension in the base game. I mean, sure, we've had mods like the Twilight Forest and the Aether, which are seemingly included in every mod pack ever, or at least the Twilight Forest is, but they're included in all those mod packs because exploring new dimensions is part of the excitement of a sandbox game. Mods like Mistcraft let you create your own dimensions using specific features, and that was insanely cool. And while we don't need something that's that extreme, another dimension would still be incredible, and something that would surely be talked about when we haven't gotten one in 10 years, and Mojang needs to do something big to be able to top adding the most powerful mob. Maybe they just add the Skulk dimension. And at 9, inventory management. Leaving chests aside, Minecraft doesn't really offer any reliable ways to store, manage, or carry your items. And considering how the game has more, like, actual things that you can hold than seemingly any other sandbox game, you definitely need a way to sort through the tons and tons of crap you will get while trying to find one diamond. It's possible that the Minecraft 1.2 update will actually bring a bundle-like item that will allow you to store a group of items within your existing inventory. And I mean, like, yeah, we have shulker boxes, but that just helps you move large quantities from one location to another, and it's not really meant for inventory management. Minecraft could also introduce a mechanic that allows the player to expand their default inventory. Maybe a leather backpack could be a reliable way to introduce this feature, and many other games offer similar solutions. The bundles that were teased still have yet to be implemented, and even when they are, they're going to be fairly limited. Whereas something like just being able to open a shulker box in your inventory would be a huge help, so that, you know, we don't have to place one down every time we need to just grab one item. It would be especially useful like underwater when you don't really have any blocks around to place the shulker on. Yeah, that'd be easy. And at 8, the forest update. Minecraft's forests were introduced in the very first version of the game, and they haven't really changed since. There have been updates to literal hell before an update for the forests. Even swamps got an upgrade before forests, the most fundamental of all Minecraft biomes. And while we did get bees, that's it. That's the only thing really that's been added to the forests. But I and plenty of others think that they can do more. One question that I've been wanting answered is what happened to the original villages. You know, the ones from before Minecraft's 1.14 Village and Pillage update. I mean, there was like the perfect opportunity to turn these into ruined villages that we end up seeing in the game, and then give us a story that explains how the old villages got overrun, and then they had to go make a new village or have one made for them with better defenses or just better architecture in general so that they would be more protected, but the zombie villages now are the same as the current ones. The way to really remedy this in my mind is to just put those old villages in forests as maybe even a smaller version and call them overgrown villages where nature has kind of taken them back. There are no structures that generate in forests, and after the first night, forests just become a biome you travel through to get to cooler things. Something small like this could kind of bring these forests back to life, no pun intended. They could even include different variants like they did with jungles. You can have like an enchanted forest, a dark forest, or a dead forest. You know, you get that idea. Dark could be where mobs can spawn no matter the light level. Enchanted forest could give you like a regeneration or some small ability or buff, and dead forests can just be like no leaves and like low saturation grass, you know? Or maybe that's too close to herobrine. In its 7, Redstone update. The Redstone update is probably the favorite thing in the world for most people, and they would never consider it to be scary. But for someone who doesn't understand Redstone and wears this shirt because all hail the mycelium resistance, the Redstone update scared the hell out of me because I didn't understand Redstone already. I mean, I've gotten better with it, but by no means am I able to make a giant Game Boy capable of playing Pokemon Fire Red or something as crazy as a living base that needs to be kept alive using golden apples. I can make a realistic elevator now, but that's only because I've watched that video so many times and had to do some personal troubleshooting. But Redstone still scares me. Sure, not in a horror way, and this number is a bit of a stretch, but come on, it's not like Minecraft is a horror game getting filled with spooky updates on the regular. And at 6, Jungle update. While jungles did get a bit of a sprucing up, no pun intended with the bamboo forests, these guys could still do with a bit more love, and plenty of Minecrafters agree, since I've been seeing jungle update ideas all over my Instagram feed recently for some reason. Before 1.18, okay, you had jungles, jungle hills, modified jungle, Modified Jungle Edge, and Bamboo Jungle Hills. That was it. But then after 1.18, you also have Sparse Jungle. And that's it. Jungle temples can only spawn in the normal jungle biomes on Bedrock and also in the bamboo jungles on Java Edition, but other than that, what really do these have aside, like, what purpose do these serve other than, like, giving you cocoa beans and then maybe a parrot? Okay, other than that, we tend to try to avoid these things because they're just so difficult to navigate. There's a reason that nobody in Hermitcraft Season 7 built their mega base in the jungle despite multiple people having their starter base there, okay? It's just not practical. So, how about we get a little something more for these guys while also adding something else? Because a whole jungle update at this point might be a little much for the jungle when there's like a much better option on the table for what you could do with an update. Halfway through number 5, the Moo Bloom. The Minecraft 1.17 update had yet another public vote for what mob we wanted to see added into the game. These choices were the Ice Logger, an ice-themed illager from Minecraft Dungeons that would be a new enemy that would live on top of the game's new tallest mountains and then throw clouds of ice at you, the Glow Squid from Minecraft Earth that is just a squid that glows, and the Moo Bloom, a fan favorite from Minecraft Earth that is another cow along the same lines as the Moo Shroom, but flowers and absolutely beautiful and adorable. But what did people vote for? Yeah, the squid. Now, I'm not one to judge, but I'm judging hard on this one, boys. Why the frickin' squid? We could have established the cow as one of the gods of the Minecraft universe, being able to transform into anything. They would also be friends with bees. Do you know how adorable that would have been? But no, instead you vote for the damn squid that glows. The squid is already more useless than a freaking golden pickaxe with efficiency 5. You wanna add another one? The damn vote page even says that it's exactly like the normal squid, but it glows like Enderman eyes. It won't even emit light! God damn it. Mojang, please, for the love of all cows that are holy because they can transform into anything, add the Moo Bloom too. Or just get rid of the freaking glow squid. In it for the desert update. Minecraft's deserts are, well, deserted, okay? A desert pyramid, otherwise called the desert temple, is a sandstone structure that sometimes generates in deserts where, you know, you can find hidden chests containing loot, but it's also protected by a TNT trap. Being introduced in version 1.3.1, nothing has really been added to deserts since. This is the update that added the first version of villager trading. It also added emeralds, a better creative menu, and adventure mode. Yeah, 1.3.1 was released on August 1st, 2012, and since then, deserts haven't really been touched. It's been almost 10 years to the day for these dry guys. And while yes, deserts are meant to be, well, barren deserts, the least we could do was show them a little bit more love. Okay, we have fossils that can randomly generate underground in piles of gravel, so why not have them be a little bit more common in deserts, or maybe slightly exposed in deserts, you know? Why not add an oasis sub-biome for just that little bit of extra life? I go to a desert to find a cactus, maybe a temple, and then maybe the odd village or a dungeon who was close enough to the surface that the sand collapsed in on itself. And then I'm gone. Like, I don't stay there. The only other reason to go is a large quantity of sand, but if you're not making a giant build on an SMP, why would you do that? Okay? Other than that, we don't really care for deserts, so show them some love, okay? You gave jungles a bit of an update. Help out my deserted boys, you know? Help him get his sands wet, you know what I mean? Okay? It's been a while for him. 10 years. Getting close to the end into number 3, herobrine is real. Okay, I know that Mojang keeps claiming herobrine isn't real and was never in the game, but it seems to be that herobrine could very possibly be present in this game. Also thanks to Minecraft Legends. They've made it clear that this new game is a different overworld, not one that we play around with in normal Minecraft, which means to me that they're thinking of doing something daring. The issue of adding herobrine, however, could be like copyright with the character, since this character, while being based on Minecraft, was created by a fan for a Brocraft stream, but also it's just Steve with white eyes, so I don't really know how the copyright law works there, but you know what, there could be some agreement to get him in there, if they really wanted to, but with the piglins popping out of the portal with glowing white eyes, it sets off a trigger in my brain. I mean, like, yes, their texture in the game has them with, like, a white pixel for the eyes, but, like, glowing eyes is synonymous with herobrine, and if he's present in Legends, he could also be present in the vanilla game. Maybe he's the reason all the monsters turned evil, okay? In a reply to a tweet asking if herobrine was a real entity in game. Notch replied saying that he wasn't, but that there might be soon, okay? This confirmed that there was no Herobrine, but suggested that Notch planned on adding him at a later date. And then the whole Notch saying, quote, "I've publicly told people there's never been any such thing as Herobrine and I don't have any dead brothers." But then he also says, letting too many animals die in lava is a foolproof way to summon him, but that you don't need to be afraid of him. He only means well. He's looking out for you, trying to warn you of the dangers you can't see. Which, I mean, like, come on, man, is only asking for it. I mean, I have to just have a spawner over lava at this point, because I need to know. But ultimately, in number 2, spectator mode. We can actually confirm that a recent beta and preview for Minecraft Bedrock Edition contained early functionality for spectator mode, which is a much wanted feature that somehow hasn't been added to Bedrock Edition as of yet. This will launch after the 1.19 update, because, you know, I mean, the 1.19 came out, I think it's come out for Bedrock, but they'll be testing it further in upcoming betas and previews, which is in essence the snapshots of Bedrock Edition for all my Java players out there. I don't know why these things are so different. I mean, like, I don't get it, especially with this, because like spectator mode was added accidentally in 1.19 betas, but I don't know why it's not there yet. It's already on Java Edition and has been for a while, but will soon come out on Bedrock? Like, somehow it wasn't ready for the 1.19 update. And as Mojang said in a statement, quote, "The first iteration will not be finished in time for 1.19, so we will be moving it to an experimental toggle in an upcoming beta. Until we have a more polished version for you, please consider that any contents or maps built on this feature will not be supported, as this feature will change and evolve." I mean, I don't get it, okay? But it may not be ready for the 1.20 update, but there is a good chance that it will make it in. I mean, it's confirmed to come to the game eventually. How it's not in the game already, I don't know, okay? Maybe it's a conflict with consoles or Pocket Edition, but I can't see how that would happen. But anyway, screw Bedrock. And finally, into number 1, an end update. While we did get a pseudo end update in 1.9, adding the additional end islands with an elytra along with the end cities and shulker boxes, but other than those 4 features, it didn't really do much. So a full end update would be very much appreciated, especially with some of the concepts that I've been seeing online, particularly 2 of them. First by IamPixel on Instagram, with a redesigned main island including an updated Ender Dragon, exit portal, and obsidian pillars. They also suggest a dragon designed elytra, as well as a new Ender Stray mob and a retextured Enderman. They also suggest chorus trees and ruined end ships. These are incredibly cool and actually do seem to fit pretty well with the Minecraft story that they're trying to tell. The other one though is from Animal Mace on Instagram and is what made me want to do this list. This update would add a rare crystal biome to the end that contained void crystals, kind of like amethyst geodes in the overworld. You'd be able to open shulkers in your inventory, which takes care of the inventory management issues that we complain about. They also would add craftable link portals using void crystals that would be like a quick tube system that transports items and players, which would be incredibly expensive, understandably, but also very cool, and it's something that I've been seeing requested quite a bit. Ender whales that could also fly through the sky that you can ride, and if you do ride them, they'd take you back to the main island without you needing to guide them, which honestly would be extremely beneficial, especially if you run out of rockets or had like a near destroyed elytra. You wouldn't have to take the plummet to your death, especially if you're in hardcore mode, okay? And, I mean, it would take a while for the whales to fly because it's a freaking whale in the sky, but it would still be incredible. Whale lords. Yeah, Yogscast fans know it. And it's 10 zombie virus. This is a slightly older theory, but it's a question that I had when watching the trailers for Minecraft Legends, is like, why are the piglins invading? Okay, don't like they turn into zombies after 30 seconds of being exposed to the overworld. And while this is a different overworld with new biomes and new structures and rules, I think there could already be some lore explanations working in our favor. MatPat once theorized that there was an airborne zombie virus that was poisoning the overworld air that things living in the overworld eventually developed an immunity to, unless otherwise compromised by like a lightning bolt or a zombie bite, and that's why the nether mobs turn into zombies after exiting the portal. However, I propose a theory that the army we recruit in this game actually released the toxin that does this themselves as an effort to prevent the piglins from invading again, either as a last-ditch attempt after they win, or maybe it was their plan all along, one that only affects piglins, or that one over time we end up developing an immunity to. So, yeah. Into 9 future golems. Looking at the poster for Minecraft Legends as well, since there isn't really much else that we can see, we can see like designed creepers, meaning that there are going to be more than just the few creepers we see in the trailer. However, it's also interesting to see that there are a load of other creatures that aren't in the base Minecraft game. What I can only assume are sentient prototype wooden dispensers that look like Hubert with a head full of arrows, the golden allay, like I've mentioned in other lists, but also 3 different types of golem. A seemingly carved stone golem, 4 of those at least, a mossy cobblestone golem above those, and some odd blue golems next to the creepers. Now I'm not exactly sure what these could be, however I'm guessing that they're kind of maybe diamond golems, but that seems kind of ridiculous, but probably skulk golems, since they have a similar appearance to the warden's design and they seem to be made with deep slate as well. Whether those were created or they just joined the fight on their own is up for debate, but I do really think that they are skulk golem, and that they'll be exclusive to this game until the community gets a feel for them, and then they might be added to like the next mob vote or maybe the one after that. I still want the Moo Bloom though. Can we please get the Moo Bloom? Thank you. And it ain't falling out. In the beginning of the first Legends trailer, I think the strangest thing we can see is actually that there are zombie baby villagers playing in the village next to normal villagers without trying to kill them, which is absolutely insane. Like, how is that a thing? No way. Well, okay, believe it or not, it is a thing, and it's right in the beginning. So how could this be possible? It is possible that maybe the zombies and villagers had a falling out later on that causes them to become enemies. Or maybe in our lore, the Nether War ends up turning the zombies to their side, because like maybe they didn't have to wear stupid hats in the Nether, because you know, there's always a ceiling, so instead the zombies ended up joining their team. I don't know, but it's certainly interesting to see that while we think that we have to like unite warring factions, they don't seem to be at odds at all, and in fact never were. Or it could be that the toxin they released to keep the piglins at bay after the war also turns those mobs hostile, or that they otherwise had some conflict that results in the overworld we see in 1.19. See? I'm bringing it back. Maybe the introduction of the skulk or the corruption from the Nether is where the hostility came from. And at 7, Copper Scrub Brush. Copper being added to Minecraft is something we've been seeing since the Tekkit Classic days. Every form of somewhat mechanical mod adds its own form of copper, but it's not in the same vein as the copper being added to 1.17. Copper blocks and stairs that will be possible to craft in 1.17 will actually be able to oxidize when exposed to open air. The blocks go from normal copper to lightly weathered to semi-weathered and then just plain old weathered, which is the same process the Statue of Liberty went through, thus why it's green now. Il Mango actually made a time lapse of a Statue of Liberty recreation out of copper getting weathered. It was like 1,000 times speed and it still took 6 minutes to get there. That's 100 hours of real life time for it to be fully weathered, which is 300 in-game days, nearly a full Minecraft year. However, the real question is it possible to clean these blocks? Breaking them will most likely give you the original block back, but you can also prevent them from weathering with wax, presumably the same wax we'll be using to make candles, but will there be a way to revert already weathered copper? There should be, so add a scrub brush that makes it take a while for a really weathered block, like make me feel the pain of scrubbing. Also, as of snapshot 20W45A, waxed lightly weathered cut copper stairs is the longest name in game. And at 6, Ancient City Mine Shaft. Before the new update, the only non-story structure generated inside Minecraft's caves was the mine shaft. You could get some pretty decent loot in it after fighting off a bunch of basic mobs, but the stakes are higher now because 1 seed makes the mine shaft you spawn near to actually lead directly into an ancient city. But honestly, the way I see it, every structure in every world is a story structure. Like sure, it's not the stronghold, but there is a reason why this mine shaft is breaking into this ancient city. Maybe some other clan of builders ended up breaking through it, or maybe there were resources up higher that the residents of the city decided to build platforms to access, and then they just kept digging, okay? I love stories. I love telling stories. It's the part of the reason I love theories. And the stories that you can make up for your own worlds can be incredible. And this tiny detail just gives it that little extra oomph you need to really make a living world, I guess. Not even thinking about the multiverse as well, which, cause like technically every seed is just another Earth, unless the world border is the divide between seeds and they all eventually link together. Oh god. Halfway through at number 5, Frostburn Update. The Frostburn Update, also known as Minecraft 1.10, added a load of spooky stuff for an update that was all about polar bears. This update added the magma block, netherwart block, red nether brick, bone block, and fossil structures, the stray, and the husk. Every mob they added in this update was hostile at one point or another, and they added more monster and nether items than they actually did frosty things, which makes sense given the latter half of the name now that I think about it, but still. This added some hell spawns, quite literally. Red nether brick is probably one of the creepiest blocks in game. Like, I don't know how, but it's weird, okay? Okay? And don't even get me started on how terrifying a nether wart block would be in real life, okay? I just imagine like a block made of like red toads, and that's how I think it would go. It would be like real lumpy, and you know, probably with some nether warts popping out every now and then, you know, just bang bang. Yeah, it sounds horrific and disgusting. This also added above ground mine shafts into mesa biomes, which are already kind of terrifying because you can get spiders. I don't like spiders. Enforced Skulk Stalkers. Did you know that Siren Head was actually almost in Minecraft? Kind of. Well, thanks to the Mojang dev King B Dogs, who is actually one of the creators of the iconic Aether mod from way back in the day, he shared on his Twitter some of the original concepts from Wardens earlier this year. On January 22nd, 2022, King tweeted a photo and said, quote, "Stalkers were going to have a glowing item in the middle of its chest that you would also randomly find throughout the biome floating on totems. The idea was that stalkers would stand perfectly still to fake these glowing items, and then you can infer the rest. And the look of these things really just looks like a skulk version of Siren Head by Trevor Henderson. And there's even gameplay footage for them, and the original design before they added all the skulk looks exactly like Siren Head. So yeah, I'm very glad these aren't in the game, okay? They're terrifying and make the skulk so much scarier, but had they have been added, this would have been the scariest monster ever. But maybe could they be added to the next version? I mean, the skulk is only concerning if you're actually scared of the warden, but with a couple of ender pearls or some planning, you're really fine. So maybe, since we're already experts at avoiding the warden just after the update released, they'll be adding another mob that can spawn in this biome. Fun fact, skulk biomes are the second biome to have no monsters spawn in them, no matter the light level, okay? The first and only until now was mushroom biomes, okay? Wardens can spawn, but they're spawned in through like technically a mob spawner, which could also happen in mushroom biomes. If you found a dungeon, the monsters could spawn because of that block. So basically, it's the same thing. Getting close to the end, and number 3, emerald tools. Emeralds, because of all the trading mechanics with the villagers, actually work as Minecraft's unofficial currency, but unfortunately, that's the only purpose they serve other than beacons. Even though emeralds spawn kind of in the same manner as other ores in Minecraft, well, at least in the sense that they're mineable ores, you can't really use them in any crafting recipes. This treatment of the emerald ore then kind of puts them in an undesirable situation, because I mean, why would you just dig one when you can go trade for a stack? And considering how Minecraft Dungeons actually has emerald armor, maybe we can get this, or maybe a recipe or something like that for the main game as well. If we were to get emerald tools, they would actually be probably stronger than iron, but not as strong as diamond, given that emeralds rank at an 8 on the Mohs scale and diamonds rank at a 10, Mohs standing for measurement of hardness scale, and given their spawning patterns, they would be difficult to come by until you had a villager trading hall, which after that you could basically just have a tool farm, which could slightly break the game, but given that you can also trade for diamond enchanted tools, maybe it wouldn't. And when I say that the generation for ores is weird, emerald ore attempts to generate 50 times per chunk in blobs of 1. So an ore vein for emerald is 1. From levels -16 to 320, being most common at level 256 and becoming less common towards either end of the range, going up or down. If you see a mountain that actually goes up to 256 or even past that, there's a high likelihood that there is at least a bit of an emerald there, because it also only spawns in desert biomes, or mountain biomes, not desert biomes, mountain biomes. But ultimately, in number 2, ruined portals. One mystery I've been thinking about recently is the nether portals from the main Minecraft game, okay? Where did they come from? And why is the nether kind of leaking out of them? Why are they ruined? My first thought was Shadow of Israfel, since those portals had a similar style, and I'm kind of obsessed with the Shadow of Israfel. Where's episode 43? In that story, they were scattered around and destroyed, but that doesn't really fit into the Minecraft lore because they leaked sand, not nether. However, with the trailer to Legends, this could be an explanation. The nether does start leaking out of these portals when they start springing up, so that explains the netherrack around these portals now, and it also suggests why the portals actually came around, because they were generated from the other side. They're ruined because we had to sever the connection, and tools were left nearby in case they ever ended up invading again, or maybe they just didn't want to use crappy gold tools. This game seems to be trying to explain the piglin and nether lore, which I am certainly looking forward to, although please tell me what ghasts are. are. And finally, in at number 1, the warden came from the nether. This is definitely a wild one, okay, but hear me out. This is probably not the case, but you might as well have some fun, right? Well, what put me on this path of thinking were actually wither skeletons. Matt, Pat, and others on Reddit have proposed the idea that maybe these are the bodies of fallen builders, buried in or absorbed by the soul sand we know that has the faces of screaming souls trapped inside, and then the skeletons left over could have been burnt from the harsh climate of the nether, or the blazes found in the very same nether structures, or nether fortresses, I guess. Having to fight off the reincarnated burnt skeletons of your former friends and family is definitely horrific, but doing that in literal hell seems a bit much. This could also be how they discovered the unique properties of soul sand, and that this then leads them to accidentally summoning the wither after too many failed attempts at bringing their lost comrades back from death. But we also know that wardens and skulk have the ability to manipulate and use souls. The warden has souls on his chests that are in the exact same place that the soul sand faces are, just mirrored. For example, the one face would be here, but the warden's face is here, and then like that, you know? So, what if the warden either came from the nether, or, since the texture is flipped, came from its own dimension that is a mirror or reverse version of the nether? That doesn't seem too crazy to me. Okay, well, the latter theory doesn't, that it's his own universe just mirrored. And in 10 cave biomes. At 1.17, we have confirmed new cave types called lush caves that will generate naturally and will be indicated with a special tree on top on the surface of the world. However, this means that the caves are probably not going to be naturally integrated with the rest of the cave systems. We've also seen the new cave generation with wide open spaces and larger caves in general. So what if we got something that does something else in those caves rather than just expand them? We could have whole underground biomes. We've seen it in the nether where basalt deltas can be on top, but then only a few blocks down is a nether waste, so why not have something similar to that with caves? Terraria does this incredibly well, and these things have made that game incredibly fun to play, and exploring the depths also stays interesting because of it. We've also seen that the deep dark, I think they're calling it, is going to be like another biome that's under everything, so like it's possible. In at 9, digging to the nether. Speaking of things Terraria has, what about digging to hell? I'm tired of telling people who tell me to go to hell that I'll dig there myself without actually being able to do it. Bring on the fire and brimstone! There's always been this idea that you could dig to the nether, be it in catchy parody songs about moving to the nether, or a grass-loving mayor who wants to abolish the beautiful native mycelium, who makes a giant hole every Hermitcraft season before going to the nether, thus resulting in plenty of green delivery mechanisms because green is impatient. Digging to the nether has always been a dream. While sure they could have added this in the nether update or even with mods, with the world already getting new areas at the deepest depths, it could be cool for that area to serve as a warning before heading to hell. Terraria does this and we've been dreaming about it. We've made it into mods, we've made songs about it. It's deep underground, past the bedrock, you know. We do it as a story point in plenty of series, so please add it to the game, mojang. And at 8, useful amethyst. Amethyst is currently a useless block. Only the shards are used for a couple things, and the blocks themselves only really sound nice when you're walking on them. We need actual things we can do with these blocks. Maybe some staircases, or the ability to use them for enchanting instead of lapis. Something that can make it more useful than pod soul. Like, come on. There's this magical new ore that can only be farmed at specific blocks, and it's used in like 2 things. Come on, where's the meat? Where's this thing is used for everything? Where is this is the new diamond? You added netherite and made it awesome, but now you add amethyst and make it basically useless? Will it be possible to use them in respawn anchors since you can place an amethyst bush on an active one, or will they grow from respawn anchors? I don't know anymore, just please tell me the right thing. And at 7, the next update. Now when talking about the next update before it's even announced, you're going to get into pretty speculative territory, but I think that this is certainly something that's developing kind of a pattern. The Minecraft Legends game, along with the last, seems to be expanding on certain aspects of the Minecraft lore, but in a way that makes not everything canon to the main game, which is certainly a cleaner or clever way of approaching this, since they can gauge what the fans like and what they don't, so that they can omit the things that we don't like and only add the things we do into the main game later on. And while you may think that Minecraft doesn't need lore, okay, it already has a story, it has a final boss that just makes there be lore. But in the end, if you want it to be different, it can be. For example, I claim that my character is from a race of aliens that live on the moon, okay? But going back to the next game, I think that it will most likely end up being another mysterious realm, the end. The end has always been a mystery for us players ever since version 1.0 when it was introduced, so I think that the next update, and whatever the next mini game is, the next out of universe Minecraft game, will probably be focused on the end and not something that's like randomly thrown into the combat update to give us wings, because we need like a proper end update. I think we all agree on that. And at 6, lore clues. Minecraft lore does exist, so much so that Ravagers being afraid of rabbits was against the lore so bad that they had to remove it. So what's the bigger picture? Well, currently MapHat is working on that along with Minecrafters like Dream, who appeared in his most recent video about the Warden. But a lot of their research is based on spawn mechanics and mob behavior, so it can't be 100% conclusive. Unless someone like Jeb cares a whole awful lot, the lore will never get solved. It's not gonna truly get solved unless they start adding some FNAF style lore hints to the game. Hell, even release a series of short stories with lore reveals in there for all I care. Or even add more things to Minecraft dungeons. It's how we figured out that souls are a thing in Minecraft and are used by evokers to create vexes, so please just give us something. Halfway through into number 5, unused mobs. Mojang has a history of creating conceptual mobs and then never implementing them into the game. For example, the Moo Bloom, hashtag rest in peace, or the Siren Head looking thing, okay? But you know what? What's truly tragic is the mobs that existed in the game but then don't have any purpose or spawn mechanic, or ones that just for some reason got removed. These unused mobs include the Giant, the Zombie Horse, the Elder Guardian Ghost, Illusioner, Killer Bunny, Jungle Villagers, and Swamp Villagers. Realistically, Minecraft 1.2 couldn't add all of these mobs into the game, but I mean, like, we still hope that at least some of these mobs can get at least a little bit of justice before something else. I mean, I don't know. But let's also remember the Fireflies, which were supposed to come in 1.19, but then didn't make the cut for some reason. And if you're curious, Swamp Villagers are actually unable to spawn naturally since a village can't really spawn in a swamp biome, but they can be bred from what I understand, at least, and so can Jungle Villagers. And the Elder Guardian Ghost is exclusive to Bedrock Edition. It has the same model and texture as an Elder Guardian, but it uses the player hurt sound when hit, and it has less health, and it's missing the back tail model for some reason. And then when spawned outside of water, it floats upwards until it despawns. It will also pass through blocks for some reason, but in my head it's probably just the mob that they used to get the graphic for when the Elder Guardian gives you mining fatigue. You know, the Elder Guardian when it like comes past your screen, that's probably what it was used for, and then they just didn't fully remove it. Maybe because they have to keep it in. And at 4, working chains. In a recent video on his channel, Minecraft YouTuber Mumbo Jumbo posted a video messing around with working chains in Minecraft. This ability was called Chainstone by the mod he was using, and he made a load of redstone contraptions that use this ability, like with chains pulling things, like a slime block that only pulls from one side. This made a whole lot of cool things possible and is honestly an addition I don't think anyone would really mind. Those who wouldn't want it or wouldn't care about the feature would simply ignore it, while the redstoners and people who want this change would use it. It's a wonderful idea, and I think it should be added into the game. Like, sure, it doesn't really make sense to push things horizontally with the chain, but hey, it's Minecraft. We can't say that Minecraft is an incredibly realistic game. If it was realistic, they would have added the Moo Bloom. And at 3, the end. When the end dimension was added in Minecraft version 1.0.0, which was the official release of Minecraft after all the beta and alpha releases, it was a scary new place. The game finally had an objective and an end goal for all players, and this kind of added a story. This was an easy way to get new players into the game because sandbox games with stories are always better. Take The Forest for example. But people were scared of the end actually being the end, that defeating the Ender Dragon would prevent you from continuing your world, but that wasn't the case. This update also added mushroom biomes and nether fortresses, as well as the stronghold, but that's obvious because you needed to get to the end. This update also added brewing and mob drops in the nether, along with magma cubes, blazes, and villagers. Villagers were absolutely useless when they were added until they got the ability to trade. I remember getting excited about that. Man, I've been playing this game for a long time. And at number 2, abandoned villages. In case you're new to the game or haven't played in a while, Minecraft 1.14 was the village and pillage update. An update where there were drastic improvements to villages, villagers, and the newly added illagers that could cause raids in villages and potentially wipe them out. However, now the new villages look amazing, with multiple variations on houses, and they actually look like villages, but it wasn't always like this. It was first a load of the same houses with maybe a blacksmith, and that was it. But since Minecraft has lore, where did those villages go? These villages would have had to been abandoned in favor of the newer, better looking ones, right? So why not turn it into a generated structure that can spawn in the forest, since nature would have taken back the land? Or you could have underground villages with their own unique villagers. I mean, caves will have the space for it, and it could just be interesting, but maybe that's just me. Is it just me? No? Okay, good. So, Mojang, Add the original villages as abandoned ones, please. Finally, and in number 1, new enchantments. Enchantments in Minecraft are being updated whenever something new rolls around. Mending was added in version 1.9 and was originally added to the enchanting table, but is now only available through trading, dungeon loot, or fishing, meaning it's a treasure enchantment. But making new enchantments may not be that difficult, and with all the new features coming like skulk sensors and blind mobs, it could be possible to add things in relation to that. Perhaps a night vision enchantment for the exploring that we'll be doing in caves. I know it's a potion, but an enchantment would be much more useful. Or a muffle enchantment to defend against skulk sensor traps, since we all know that they're gonna happen. And they'll be undetectable, so maybe something like that could be useful. It could be a treasure enchantment like mending so that it would be harder to get, but it would be extremely helpful. And hey, maybe we can get a blindness curse like the curse of binding that we could use to troll our friends. Could you imagine curse of binding and blindness? Yikes.